What's going on, y'all? I don't even know how to have an intro outside of Brother Empowerment. I just thought about that in that very moment. I was about to say it's Thursday, but nope, it's Tuesday. But no. um, Good evening, everybody who's about to tune in, who's tuning in, who's watching it, and haven't clicked in just yet. Um, I've been saying this for a while. I started the thoughts and passions part because there are parts of me and elements of me that are separate from other entities of Love is a Parable that still need attention in order for me to grow and develop in the ways that I need. And tonight, I was just sitting here thinking while cleaning up the kitchen. We always talk about positive affirmations in the morning and waking up in a good space, in a good place. But why do we have to wake up in the morning to be in that good place? Why we don't go to bed in a good space? Why we don't go to bed thinking about good things, meditating on the good things, so when we wake up, it's a confirmation of those things. And before we get into that discussion, so I sent my brother a text. I was like, "Al, you up?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, let's just go live and talk about this." So all of this is strictly impromptu. We don't even know where this conversation is going to go. And I know that the conversation was meant to happen because we spent about 30 minutes for Al to get his sound together, y'all. But I ain't gonna say too much about that. But I'll tell the people a little bit about you who may not know who you are, or may have seen you around and have an interest to learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So I will say Jay is the only person that you sitting down watching TV and Jay say let's go live, and it turns out to be a whole production. I thought we were just I thought we were just going live on the book on the Facebook, and that was gonna be it. I had to get microphones out and cameras and earpieces. I'm like, good lord.
Look, I don't know why you tripping, bro, because you're the same exact way. You know you don't half step. So I don't even know why he was like, let me think about half stepping just a little bit. I don't know what
Man,
made him think that.
Man, look, all I wanted to do was change my shirt that I wear around the house. They got holes all in it. They look like I got attacked by some type of animal. That's all I want to do, man, is change my shirt. That's it.
No, no, no. I think people need to see where that motivation come from. Because it's some people who will sit there and say that like they want to get into this business of being an entrepreneur or get into the fashion industry, and they don't be understanding the other part of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, kind of back to what I was saying earlier, bro. Like, so do you purposely before you go to bed try to regulate your mind to be right, or do you find yourself not really doing it? Like, is it, or you wake up with the intention of getting your mind right? Which one do you really do, or do you do a combination?
Typically, like so tonight, I was watching TV because I
Right.
wanted to kind of calm my mind down and veg out a little bit, because I had to take a kind of a mental health break today, just in general from work, from everything. So I wanted to just veg out. And that was kind of what I was doing, watching something relaxing, nothing like, you don't go to bed, after you've watched an action movie or something. You want your mind and your brain and everything to kind of calm down. So that's what I was doing, kind of, letting everything calm down. Because you also want to make sure that you get good quality sleep.
Right.
I've been in this place where I was part of that culture where sleep was not part of productivity.
Right.
It was the grind is how much can you get done in a day, and then you end up being really less productive. For one, you're not doing the things that are the money making things. They say about the 80-20 rule. You spending all this time doing that 80% when you can do that 20% that's going to bring you that 80%. And that's just where my mindset is right now, making sure I get enough sleep. If I don't get enough sleep, I'm not going to be at my best. I'm not going to perform at my best, I'm not going to get the most out of that 20% versus trying to run around in circles and doing that 80%. So definitely, I definitely agree with you, but I can also see why some people, you just want to get into bed. Like, you want to run away from the day. It was rough, and going to bed is a way to just to run away from the day.
Now, well, if that's the case, like I'm not a heavy sleeper, meaning like I don't sleep long hours. Never have. Don't think I ever will. To be honest, like a good night rest for me, if I get in maybe 4 to 5 hours of uninterrupted sleep. So,
Yeah,
but I'm a thinker. So, I found that I do things to distract me, but I don't necessarily do things to keep my mind regulated on positivity because my mind will quickly wander. Like, I don't know if you're like this, but I'm definitely like this as an entrepreneur. I was just talking to someone today about that. Like, I personally feel like I should be somewhere further along than where I am currently in my life.
yeah,
And so I find myself staying up, meditating, and kind of thinking or even strategizing on ways to improve my life, on ways to improve the things that I do. And I find myself feeling like if I go to sleep, I'm missing that opportunity to indulge myself in the fantasy, but also the dreams of the possibilities of what my life could be if one of these things or two of these things just jump off. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I guess I go back and forth with that a lot, but I don't necessarily think of strictly things that are positive. And I got to do a better job of that because I do wake up in the morning and I do positive affirmations and I manifest what today is going to be and how it's going to bring. But I do find myself sometimes at night, I may go to sleep stressed, which is why I do have some interrupted sleep, or I may go to sleep thinking and I'm really thinking in my sleep and not really resting. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I get about 6 hours, like 6 hours, and I'm good. I've never been a 8 hour person, but I do need my 6 hours though,
Ooh, 6 hours. That's pretty good, bro.
and I need that to be a quality 6 hours. Like, I need a quality 6 hours. But one of the books that I've talked about, like this book called The Confidence Gap, and I like the approach that it takes on, like, just thinking in general. I used to
Hmm.
be one of these people that thought, your thoughts, your brain or your thoughts were your enemy. And
Right,
really, the brain is like, it's neutral. It's going to feed whatever you get hooked on.
right,
So if I get caught up on this thought that I'm stupid and I made this mistake, my brain is going to find reasons why I'm stupid. If I get caught up on, while I'm going to be successful and start trying to manifest stuff, that my brain is going to go down that road. So it's all about just not getting hooked. And
right,
one of the strategies that has worked really well for me is being able to see your thoughts like outside yourself. It talks about like seeing your thoughts written down on a leaf on the string. And when you start to have these negative thoughts, the way that you get hooked is because you're focusing all on them thoughts. And you doing this exercise, you have to control the flow of the stream. You also have to be able to read your thoughts and visualize your thoughts on the leaf, and not get hooked by it. It's just letting it flow down the stream and not grabbing it and bringing it in. And that's what I often use, especially when I'm about to go to bed, and if I've had a rough day, and these thoughts trying to hook me. That's what I do, because it's okay to have them. It's not okay to get hooked by them. Is my kind of philosophy.
yeah. And the sad part is, bro, I don't even know that. I know that I put probably. I don't know. I measure success a little bit differently than I think others do. Um, And I think that like when people start talking about success, I think they sometimes think only in regards to impact.
Yeah.
Or some people may only think about monetary or some type of materialistic perspective. But when I'm thinking about success, I'm thinking I'm looking at 360. I'm looking at the impact. I am looking at the sustainability of that. Um, and so it's a couple of things that I would like to truly have in place to really knock certain things out. And so I find myself in thought, in deep thought, more than speaking to that in the moment like I do in the morning. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
In the morning, I'm searching for opportunities. And even though at night I'm searching for opportunities, the opportunities are more about strategizing. And so I find myself being more bogged down in thought. And I want to shift that because I feel like if you go to bed in a positive space and you're thinking about things from a positive perspective, when you wake up, it should be a continuation of that. And I feel like sometimes we get onto these things and like, yeah, it's great to see things on the mirror. Like, some people write affirmations on their mirror. So when they go to the bathroom or when they wake up in the morning, that's the first thing that they see. But I'm like, well, why are you not writing that on your pillow? Like,
I
if it's the
like it.
first thing you see, why it can't be the last thing you see the same way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's what I am. And I was telling you before we got on, I feel like I'm moving into a different direction and I find myself getting ready for whatever it may be. And I don't know what is coming, but I just feel like I got to get prepared for it and I got to be in a good space. So I find myself like I'm reading my scriptures more. I'm meditating on positive thoughts more. I'm finding myself listening to song more. I find myself thinking about different things. Like I stopped watching TV a long time ago when I started Love is a Parable. I watch TV occasionally, like if the girls want me to watch a movie with them or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't like watching TV because I don't want my thoughts tainted. I don't want my spiritual download to take a scenic route. I want to make sure that what I'm hearing, what I'm digesting is truly coming to me directly and not coming an alternate route, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I got you. One of the things I've found that I get inspiration by so many different places. Like sometimes watching certain movies, and when I'm watching on TV, I'm a comic book geek, so I'm watching
Uh-huh.
about superheroes and stuff. So
Right,
sometimes the stories and just the some of the entertainment kind of gives me, it just inspires me sometimes. But I have had to ensure that I'm not doing that too much, because it is you it is it's important to be productive, but you also have to know when you're trying to escape, the reality of what you're supposed to be doing at that time. And I have definitely been one of them people that will spend long hours watching TV. And I'm not even gonna say I don't now. Sometimes I do. If it's at the end of the week and I need to, I need a break, that's what I'm having to take my break.
right.
But yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying.
Well, look, I'm not going to. I will watch a Marvel something in a minute. I am Marvel, and I'm not even anti DC, so I won't even say like I'm anti DC. I watch a DC or a Marvel only because when you study a lot, it's so funny how people will label certain things as fantasy,
Yeah.
and a fantasy reveals more truth than those things that are supposed to be true. But man, I feel like a lot of us I feel like a lot of us don't know if we want our success or someone's borrowed success or you know, someone's look on success. And I guess it's several different things that play a factor in my way of thinking now because I think that we all, when we're in something, like if we're committed to anything, whether it's school, whether it's a fraternity, whether it's a relationship or whatever, we're kind of committed to the overall vision of that, right?
Hmm.
But then there come a place of saying, okay, is this truly what I want individually? Not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, but I think sometimes we may accept certain things to keep the peace, but it also is the catalyst for the raging war within. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so well, you a serial entrepreneur, you have different projects, different things going on. You know, is it all of this coming out because I feel trapped by complacency or being compliant? Or is this just coming out because it's so much inside of me also? You know what I mean? It's like, because I find myself like, it's no different except I put it under love as a parable, but I write books. If I find something that I like, I'm no fashion designer, but if I find a quote that I like, I will throw that thing on a shirt. I am a poet, so I find myself wanting to do that. Or if I want to do a music video, I'll do that because I have to get it out. But I don't know how much of the stuff that I'm doing is a form of expression or an outlet or a way of escaping because I've committed part of myself to things that may not necessarily give me total fulfillment. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
So I lost some of you for a minute.
Uh huh.
Hear me now?
You lost some of me, so you didn't hear it. Your sound went out, or I went out. What happened? I'm losing you now. What's going on, Natanya? She said, proper rest is vital, and she swear by her naps. It's a natural asset. What's going on? And then we got Trina Rose watching, and Tiffany is on too. What's going on, Tiffany? But I think that a lot of times, bro, sometimes we're just committed to things that we assume will bring us some type of fulfillment, some type of happiness, or some type of gratification, and it doesn't. And by the time we realize that we don't have total happiness or complete happiness, I think that it's not necessarily bitterness, but some of it is resentment. I think that we resent not only the individual, but we also resent ourselves for being compliant. We resent ourselves sometimes for like, maybe I did play it safe because that's one of the things that I'm talking to one of my frat brothers about. I feel like there were opportunities, but I played it too safe. And now that I'm getting older, sometimes I feel like I'm running out of time to do all of the things that somewhat make me happy. You know?
Yeah, and one of the things and I feel like a lot of some of the internal stressors that we have is because of the culture. It's a cultural thing. You know, just about feeling like as you get older, like you running out of time. That's a cultural thing. But the one thing I have to tell myself that God is a redeemer of time. Like I can feel like I'm wasting time right now, but God can, bring it all to a head in a year or less than that. I just need to continue to move forward at a steady pace. One of the things that is like amazing to me when I look at the stories of the Bible, and Jesus was walking around, and he was supposed to be going to go, heal this person, heal that person, the 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 lady that the daughter that died, that he was going to heal, and then you also had the woman that was I think she was bleeding for like 12 years. And there's a lot of stories like that where people were coming up to Jesus and coming up to anybody, but he never rushed. It was always a steady pace of moving forward. So I have tried to adapt that mindset. And I also, I still have to bring myself down because I also feel like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And it's not so much of what I see other people doing. it's I know what God showed me. Like I've seen the vision of the building that I'm supposed to be in, the people that will work for me, where the clothes are supposed to be. Like I've seen this just a part of that mountaintop, and I know I'm not there yet. So trying to deal with all those internal stressors that the culture is providing, and and within myself, it is definitely a balancing act, man. And I definitely understand, but
Yeah, and
I go through that same thing internally.
I definitely agree with what you're saying because I find myself doing the same thing, like kind of balancing myself, like saying, no, you still got time, you got this, you got that. But there are certain things that still remain. I did compromise certain things. It's like when an opportunity presented itself, there are several things that I know that I overthought and I second guessed. There are also things that I knew when an opportunity was there, or someone or something that I was connected to. I didn't do it. Like moving up here versus moving to Houston. The benefit is, yes, I started my organization up here. I met a lot of great people, but the friends that were already in Houston, their lives have tripled because of how things moved. And we were in the same industry. So I'm sitting here looking at my life and what I have now, and I'm saying, okay, that was a missed opportunity. Now, the reality of it is, I can't live in that past. I have to accept it and move on. But there are moments when I sit here and think, I'm like, you know what? That was a missed opportunity. What other missed opportunities am I missing even now with my organization because I had to go back to work? You know what I mean? That infuriates me. Or the fact that I know that my organization can provide the solution to a lot of the situations that organizations, governmental entities, or even individuals are dealing with. I just don't have the platform. You know what I mean? To say, I'm over here, look at this, look at this. So sometimes it's just the self confrontation of saying, yes, you've missed opportunities. You better not miss another one. But at the same time, you want to be realistic. But what is realist? What is realism if you keep compromising in the process? When are we going to aggressively pursue the things that we were purposed to do without compromise?
And I think part of it, we just like we are emotional creatures, man, and we get so distracted. Like there's just like certain things that just come across our preview, and we just get so distracted. And I find I found myself doing that same thing. But I just, like I said, I have to keep reminding myself, man. Last couple years, like when the pandemic started, I had to have a come to Jesus with myself, because I
Uh huh.
realized, like, I am not where God showed. Like it's so it's two parts, and you also have to be you have to have that come to Jesus with yourself, and you have to take responsibility. So I had this, I was frustrated because I wasn't where God showed me, and I felt like I was running out of time. But I also realized, like, I haven't been obedient. Like there was a line that I wouldn't cross, and it feels like the older you get, the less risk you want to take, because you get more established, you have your family, you have more responsibility. And it seems like the less risk you want to take. But I realized, one of the reasons that was I wasn't what God showed me was because of me. Like there was I was challenging myself, but it was a line to how far I would go, and being able to go on that line and really able to challenge yourself, because all every this whole journey is all about sharpening and applying that pressure so you can become that diamond. And
Yeah.
I also have to remind myself, even though I didn't take this opportunity, even though I didn't do this, God is going to use all of it. It's even in my regrets, and like we can talk about now, even in the things that we didn't do, and you talk about your regrets, it's going to inspire somebody else to not have that regret and really go and take that opportunity and not let it pass them by.
Gotcha. Tiffany said, hey guys, loving this topic. What's up, Tiffany? Tara is on. What's up, Tara? Apostle Green down there. What's going on, bro? Tara was like, yeah. And Cordell said the real that's real for quite a few of us. Um, I know when he was talking about just that struggle of that balance that we were talking about earlier. And then Natanya said we have to stay open to fulfillment as a principle. As we grow, the fulfillment perspective will grow too. I'm going to chew on that, Jay. And Tara said that my comfort in routine has allowed me to miss opportunities. And Pastor Felina was on, Pastor Peterson, she was on the last time we did this, who's a great pastor down in Hepzibah, Georgia. She actually was like my camp counselor when I was a youth, and she imparted a lot in me, and she still does, and we're going to continue that partnership. But with that being said, bro, my biggest fear is on the day that I meet the Heavenly Father is that He's going to say like, I can't allow you in because you compromised. And I know that we can make excuses and justifications like, hey, I had my wife or I had the kids and, I wanted to make sure I prepared this. And in your word, you said you got to leave something and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, man, you can't use the word against me when I know that you didn't do exactly what you were purposed to do. Like you may have said what I told you to say, but you added words to it, or you tried to remix it and spin it, or you tried to capitalize off of this. And I told you not to do this for profit, but this one I told you to do for profit and you didn't listen. And so when you did this for profit, you thought because I was drawing people to you, these were the people you're supposed to be helping, not the people you're supposed to be profiting. Or what about the people you rejected because you thought that they weren't going to take you nowhere? No, I told you to do certain things and you didn't do it. And I feel like that's the thing that keeps me up. And I constantly think about, okay, did I do it the way that you told me to do it? Because that's the problem with Love is a Parable. There are so many opportunities that I feel like I've missed purpose, like spiritually, but purposely, I feel like, I can't bring that to ruin. You know what I mean? I can't do that thing, but at the same time, I do feel like I'm running out of time. Like what? The average black man living to be about 69 may make it to 71. The average. So you're talking about somebody who's 43 years old. It's like, yo, I'm running out of time to do these things to get right. And then so you do get frustrated because you're like, how is it not happening for me? What am I doing as an individual that is having me at a place? So that's where the strategizing come in. Is like, okay, well, I'm gonna start praying more, I'm gonna start singing more, I'm gonna start writing more, I'm gonna start doing whatever it takes, whatever it takes. And maybe the whatever it takes is a compromise. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that we got another job and didn't live on faith that he couldn't perform for us. It's so many different things that go back and forth in your mind that keep you up at night. And I do remember, like, when my grandmama was living, you know, she would always say that God will provide, or she will hum sometimes, because they believe that, if you hum, Satan won't hear your prayers. um, so she would hum and moan a lot. And so, but my grandma still died in the projects. I mean, that's not to say that she didn't live life fulfilled, and that's not to say for those who in the projects are not happy, but I don't know if that was her purpose life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be that person waiting on God, but I don't want to be that person leading them either. So it's like, phew.
Yeah, I struggle with the same thing, man. Like I don't want the second string to have to take over for me. Like I want to finish all the work that God has put in me. Like I don't want the Aaron to come behind and be able to take the people to the promised land. Like I want to be able to take them. I want to be able to see it. And
Right.
the thing that reminds me, man, of that scripture says, obedience is better than sacrifice. And it took and that's I used to struggle with that. Like what do you mean? Like it's important to sacrifice. Like Jesus sacrificed. Like why is how is obedience? It's like we supposed to sacrifice. That's what we're here for. But
Right.
the thing I've learned about humans is we make up what a sacrifice is. Like
Yeah.
we rationalize what the sacrifice is, and that's why it's important to be obedient. To listen to that God. And the frustrating part, like God don't give you the whole plan. He give you a little speck of the plan, and you got to grab hold of that half a plan, whatever He told you. And I have to remind myself sometimes, go back to the last thing He said. If I get confused, I get lost, I get strayed away, I try to go back to the last thing He said. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with this because like we are emotional, man. We like trauma, every stuff will get in the way. That paycheck starting to look slim. Let me go do this. Let me go do that. Like we get in the moment, and it just happens, man. You just get so distracted. But I definitely struggle with that, man.
Bro, oh, we got quotes coming in. I mean, comments coming in. Natanya said, I read a quote once that said, God took account of all my stupidity when He called me. I laughed, but like an old Nintendo game, Duck Hunt, the opportunity will present itself again. You have an advocate with the Father. Love that. Trina Rose, what's going on, sister? She said, remember, time is eternal. I can't tell you how many people who feel like were they are where they are because they compromise, saved my life or the life of my family member because they were there. Um, Pastor said, in the case of Abram and Sarai, God gave them another opportunity to fulfill His promise, even after being disobedient and taking matters into their own hands. I love that.
And
Natanya
look,
said,
that's another example of like we get emotional. Like they were thinking the same thing. We running out of time. Like it don't seem like it's gonna happen. We need to go ahead and make it happen.
"Yep, yeah, I'm gonna say something." Oh, she said, "You're absolutely right, Al. We'll create sacrifice out of nowhere." Yeah, that was really powerful when you said that. But I will say this though, like I can give you like a good example of things like most of the time I'm minding my own business, and those who kind of know me, I live in my own world. I'm easily distracted by my own thoughts, let alone somebody else coming up in there. But it's like people will tell me things that they've done to go out their way to hurt me. And like it's like they have a guilty conscience or something. So they're like exposing us just like one young lady who was in a relationship with a guy who didn't like me. You know, she who, even though we were cool and we were friends, she basically didn't help my organization grow because she was in a relationship with this person. However, even though she knew the stuff was a lie, she wanted to keep the peace of her relationship, which meant sabotaging me. So what am I supposed to do with that? That was like, cause you could have kept that to the grave. Like, why tell me that? You know what I mean? Not only why tell me that, is like, what I'm gonna do with that? Because now I'm sitting there thinking, like, how many missed opportunities did I lose because of you? Or people who literally go out of their way to try to disprove what we're doing. So it's not just even my own thoughts. It's just sitting here. I'm like, I didn't even do anything to you. I didn't even do anything to your man. So why would you just sabotage me on an account? People randomly confess things all the time. And I'm like, why are you telling, like, I ain't need to know. Like, keep it to yourself. But
Cause you
you
love
find
the parable, man. They looking for grace.
they already had it. I didn't know. Let me
That
not
they did
know.
they didn't have it because their conscience wasn't right. They came they wanted to tell you so they can get that grace.
Yeah, but now I'm sitting here frustrated because you find yourself trying to prove like it's hard being an anomaly and then being treated like a stereotype. And then it's like people will push you to see the manifestation of that stereotype, and it seems like they get even more mad when you don't do it. It's like in my mind, I like, okay, I know I just can't rock with you no more. What am I get mad over something that's already done? I'm like, I know that I can't rock with you anymore, and it's water under the bridge. But I just find it so interesting that even when you're minding your own business, there are people that are trying to sabotage you, and you sitting here thinking like, okay, and here's where it really gets complicated. You like, Father, is this a result of a seed I've sown? Did I put something out there and I'm reaping it? Is this the manifestation? Look, or is this the manifestation of my damaging thoughts? Meaning I may not have done anything, but is this self-prophecy because of how I'm thinking? Am I manifesting these type of things? So you go back and forth like this ping pong thing about like finding balance and pursuing purpose. It goes so many different ways, and sometimes you don't know if it is. That's why I like Jonathan McReynolds' song about people. When that joker said, "Deliver me from people," I was like, that's a whole word right there, sir. Because you don't know if it's the people or the devil. You be like, which are you Satan or are you the people? Which one? But it's a lot of those things that I find myself that before I go to sleep, I do have to clear my mind of not just the strategies, but those type of stories where, it hurt, bro. It really does hurt that you sitting here trying to do something good and you've been good to a person and they for no reason, not an argument, not something that was said, but for no reason other than to just sabotage you on the account of sabotaging. And then feel like they need to disclose it. Be like, no, just float away. It's like if you know like it's those type of things. And then I do have compassion for people, which you know I kind of hate about myself, like because I can understand. I Now on the flip side, I can understand being in a relationship and you feel like you don't have much time and you trying to do everything to make this relationship work, even committing to things that you know are not true. I get the mindset behind it, but it still doesn't take away the pain that I feel. And when you're at your low moments and you're sitting there thinking about, okay, what ways can I strategize and to improve? But how do you strategize or how do you develop a defense against the unsuspecting attacks? Like people you didn't even know were enemies, or you know what I mean? Like you didn't like wars you don't even know you're fighting, and you're sitting there thinking, like, wow, is this the reason why certain things have been happening? Or how many more people? You know?
I think
So
that's
it's
what
like
God is
those
for.
type of things.
I think that's why we got a God. Like that's for people that have that's why people believe in something, something higher because there's so many things is like unknown that can happen. One of the
Yeah.
things I forget what we were talking about, man, but one of the things like it was a while ago. I think it was maybe the beginning of the year. We were talking about something. And I think I was messing with you and I was saying vulnerability is your brand. I was like, man, that's your brand, man. And
Uh-huh.
and it really stuck with me. And I was like, it's like that's a powerful thing. That is an extremely powerful thing. And I wanted to make sure like that I made vulnerability my brand. Can you still hear me?
Gotcha. Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what your camera doing though. It's spinning. It's doing something.
I don't know either, man.
It
Well,
done left you.
we went in the podcast mode. So, but that's as a black man, I wanted to make sure that and as a black man, just where I come from Durham, my background, I think that's just a powerful thing to because people see vulnerability as such a like weakness. They see grace and love and all these things as weakness. I was like, I think it's important to, let that speak for itself. Let that be the brand.
Right. And to be honest, it's so foolish, like how some people think. You look at when you think about vulnerability, a lot of people think about the sensitive things, and you're like, no, me rocking you in your jaw, punching you in your face is not what is going to cause me to miss the mark. Me compromising who I am will. And so a lot of people don't realize that you're fighting the wrong thing. You're attacking the wrong thing in a lot of scenarios. And hold on one second. Natanya said, "Woo, Jay, I remember you saying something about me, that potency of your gift. Truth is attracted to you, sir. People forget you're still a person, a human too." Right. And Pastor said, "Coals on their head." Yeah, I think that, bro. I think that a lot of times we're balancing more of ourselves and in pursuing purpose than personal conflict with an individual. But an individual who has no desire to pursue purpose wants to have conflict with the manifestations of you pursuing purpose. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that where we, because there is a Hebrew prayer that really resonates with me, and it basically says, "Blessed is he who walks in the name of the Most High God," or "Blessed is he who walks in the name of God." Blessed is he, and it ties directly to the commandment about thou shalt not use the Lord our God name in vain. And a lot of people don't know that true translation for that ruin, I meant that vain means to ruin. And how do you ruin it? By being a misrepresentation, um, which will cause a deterrence for others to connect with him. And so I strive every day to make sure that I represent him, not just in my words, you know what I'm saying? Like, not just finding the right words, but in my character. And sometimes people may not agree with my methods, but if he's okay with it, and if he's okay with it, I'm okay with it. But I think that a lot of times people don't realize that you're making someone's journey or someone's walk unnecessarily difficult, you know, because you're too much of a coward to have a conversation, or you jealous, or you just pure jealous of what it is. And I hate to use that term jealous because it's used so frequently, but some people are envious of your pursuit. Some people are envious of your journey, but they don't know that, hey, you should be a supporter on this journey because you're on a journey too. And just like you see them people running those marathons, you know, yes, they've conditioned their whole life for this marathon. But that still doesn't mean they don't need your cheers. That still doesn't mean they don't need that water when they come past you. And I think people are missing that point of saying, like, yo, I'm on a journey. Yes, there are going to be manifestations, but imagine what the manifestations will be when we truly connect.
Yeah, definitely, man. I
Yeah.
think they get so caught up in they just want to relieve their conscience.
Yeah.
It's been on their conscience, and this is an opportunity to relieve their conscience. And maybe they know, like, if I tell Jay this, he ain't gonna slap me in the face.
Well, I'd be like, well, can you just go on and donate for the missed money that you look, look, can we make
Just
can
look,
we
just
make
gotta
this
write the check. Look, just write the check.
It's like they'll come and be like, I'm so glad we had this conversation. You be like, but guess what? Me knowing this information has profited me the same as me not knowing this information. It's like literally like, thank you. You know, and so now I do spend time filtering that out. And I do, it is easy for me to detach emotions. I don't want people to think like, oh, he's sitting with that all day long. No, once I've come up with a decision, I'm pretty good with it. I just feel like that's just an unnecessary step I had to take when you could have did the right thing. Like, and if you felt guilty about it, do the right thing to fix it even after that. Like, all jokes aside, like, you don't have to necessarily donate money, but Let's restore the opportunities that you allowed me to miss.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Work
saying?
harder for it. Yeah.
Yeah, like make it right. It's just like the same thing. If we even use biblical principles, if I get out of right standing with the Father, He has things according to Scripture to help me get back into right standing with Him. So if you get out of right standing with your brother, do the things that you need to do to get back in right standing with your brother. It's very simple, but we make that overly complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, it's hard to humble yourself. And in order to get back in right standing, you first have to say you was wrong. And sometimes you can make that step, but far as going past that, man, it takes a lot more ability to humble yourself.
I agree with that 10,000 percent. Natanya said the journey is not for the cowardly, beloved brothers and sisters. Correct. Um, but yeah, and so the funny thing is, bro, we naturally had this conversation, and this is what is kind of like what my night is. My night is some random text, some random message of some type of confession or some information that I feel I really didn't need to know. You know, then on the process of looking at my life, where I am now, where I desire to be, where the Father has me or has shown me where I need to be in that alignment. So I wrestle with these type things every night. And one of the things that I made a promise to now, I'm going to speak to them and say, like, like I am grateful for the confession because it lets me know who I'm dealing with. But now I'm also going to not only because I do pray for them because I'm like, Father, why they did that, whatever it is, get them peace. But now I'm also going to pray that we instruct them to do something. Like I'm going to have to be more intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
About also saying like, yo, I'm grateful that you shared this with me, but these are some things that we're going to have to do in order to be in right standing. And I'm talking about when I just said that I literally just got this revelation while talking to you in this very moment. Um, because if I live by the scripture and I believe in the scripture, when I have interactions, I should use that same thing. Meaning, like, yo, if I'm an extension of the scripture, when people interact with me, they should experience the scripture as well. So if you are not in right standing with me, we need to do some things to get you back in right standing with me.
Yeah, and I think I think it's a blessing that they feel like they see your fruit and they feel like they can come to you and kind of unburden themselves and kind of confess like like you're a Catholic priest or something. But I do think it is also I think you use it as a great opportunity to correct and to tell them how to do the work. So I think that's really good. And
Yeah.
and maybe that's part of what they're looking for, and they don't want to say it. They looking for how can they get back in right standing.
That's pretty good. See, I'm a look, and guess what? When we get off of this, I'm gonna be marinating on that. Be like, who should I send an email to in the morning? Be like, I was sitting here thinking, but no, you're spot on, and and I'm gonna be more intentional. And we talked about this anyway. Just being more intentional about our connections and saying what it is that we need. Like one of my most fondest experiences with you thus far, bro, is the time we met in Durham, and we sat and talked at the I don't even know what that place is. What a
And you,
place is?
you and you put my life in danger to take pictures.
Exactly. But guess what? You trusted me because you knew it was like because I was just invested in your image and your brand in that moment as you were. And there are things that like you also have paved the way and made connections to for me to get speaking engagements and things like that too. And so those moments are very important to me. And I always value those people who have really opened up doors because everybody may not have money. Everybody may not have certain resources, but everybody is connected to somebody. And you never know how you might help somebody by just connecting them, but you don't realize who may be in lack because you refuse to connect people because you're trying to be all of that. And so um that was one of my fondest moments. And like I told you, I look at you as my brother, and I look at you as my friend, and I look at you as a person that I definitely want to continue to do partnerships with. And I feel like you know how it would feel like, how you have a taste for something but you don't know what it is. Like
Yep.
you're like, I'm hungry, and you're like, I got a taste for something and I don't know what it is, but I know I don't want that. Because like people be like, oh, you want Wendy's? Nope. You want McDonald's? No. You want Zaxby's? No. You know what I mean? You don't know what it is. But when it hits, you're like, oh, that hit the spot. Or sometimes you're hungry and you ate something, you like, that hit a spot I didn't even know I had. I feel like we're that close a lot of times when we get connected, because we do these weird little things like we'll get real, real close and then we'll separate for a while. Then we'll get real, real close and we'll separate from a while. And I feel like the separation is sometimes the trick of the enemy. You know, saying, yep, you're by yourself. See, you got to do blah, blah, blah. But no, the true magic always happens when we are together. Just get on my nerves now. The true magic always happens when we are connected. And that's where the thing comes. Like, and I think, that's where I'm getting revelation. That's what frustrates me. Like, we have opportunities to build. And instead of building, you try to destroy. You try to dismantle when there's nothing worth dismantling. Now, I understand that there is a time to dismantle, but when it's time to build, you're not building because you're only focusing on dismantling. So that's what really frustrates me. And I think that that's why I'm not upset, because it's the greater purpose that you're missing.
Yeah. When you
So,
were just talking about the speaking engagements and stuff, I got that revelation as like you're talking about people doing things that you're not even aware of to kind of sabotage you, but you also have people in place, and I feel like you have way more people in place doing things that you don't know to support you, because that doing like the speaking engagement, like I was mentioning you for probably like a year. It just like several things, like,
see,
oh,
that was
Jay
it
can
from
do
the
this,
no.
like
Oh, you've
Jay
been
can
speaking
do
for a
this.
year. What took him so long? Look, see, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
But
I'm joking.
sometimes the right opportunity comes up. It's like, okay, yeah, he can do that. But you have people mentioning your name in rooms, way more than people are trying to sabotage you. I feel that's the revelation I got.
I like that, and I might quote you on that, and I may not give you credit.
That's all right. If,
Well,
if you
bro,
if you make some money off of it, just give me some slide, write me a check.
I may or may not. um, but bro, we about to wrap up this hour. For one, thank you for just carving out this time to just speak with me, man. And to do this. I will probably be, more than likely, yep, we'll be doing this again in the future where I randomly just call you or call somebody else and be like, hey, let's just go live. Because that's what I am. I've never really been a structured person, but I know how to do it. And in my downtime, planning things really stresses me out. Like, I'm not that one who'll be like, hey, let's go to the movies. And I'm like, okay, let's go. But then you're like, no, not today. How is it looking on next Tuesday? I don't know. Don't ask me what I'm doing next Tuesday at 2. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, are
Yeah.
we doing a day or not? Like, I'm more like that. Like, what can we do in these moments of enrichment? And so it makes me feel good to be able to do that. And brother, I definitely do appreciate you for hopping on. But any last thoughts or anything you want to leave for the people before we log off?
I will say, man, that I'm the same way. Like, I like to do things spontaneous, and I am working on planning things out. Like I have learned that that is a level of friendship. You have those close friends that you can say, hey man, let's go to the movies. Let's meet there in about an hour. And then you have, some friends that you gotta call and schedule a phone call with. Like, yeah, let's you just can't call them right up. They ain't gonna answer. But you got to
Right.
schedule that friendship. So there are different levels to friendships, and I'm learning that myself, man.
Thank you. I definitely want to just encourage people that's just like stop delaying things, and I think that that's probably the underlining thing. Like, stop delaying your happiness. Stop delaying your your obedience. Stop delaying your purpose. Like waiting until the morning to do things that you can do right now in this very moment, and just be open to it, and be open that we're all learning each and every day, and do your very best to be just aligned with your purpose. And if you're not aligned with your purpose, forgive yourself and do the necessary work to be aligned with your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, let's just go with that. And anybody who's looking of ways to connect with me or Al, in the post itself, in the topic, it has both of our websites. It also has it in our names. You can visit lovesapparel.com. It may be a class, a book, some swag, something that you may find beneficial. And the same if you go over to Good Steward Apparel. I don't think he have any classes yet, but he definitely got a lot of ways that you can get engaged, not only with the community, but find fashionable apparel that has a positive message, but also a message that promotes change.
It's all about that cultural shift.
Yep.
And I want to add to what you just said, man. And then I'm hopping off.
Okay.
Um, it is important that we make sure that we don't use grace and sacrifice as an excuse of of obedience. Like
Yeah.
we know what we're supposed to be doing. You know what you've been tasked with. Don't use because you have tomorrow. God is going to forgive you, or I'm making this sacrifice for my kids. I got to make this money. I got to do this and I got to do that. Don't use that as an excuse not to do what the task that you've been placed before you.
Yep. I agree 1,000%. And guys, thank y'all for tuning in with us on this late time, 30 minutes to the midnight. We're gonna go ahead and get off because we all act like we ain't got stuff to do early in the morning. But I appreciate you, Al. I love you, bro. Hold on just 1 second. I'm gonna get everybody else out. All right, guys, we love y'all.